everybody, and welcome to Talking Horses as the New Year's Eve. Talking Horses as 2019 will come to a close today, and want to remind people, aside from the fact that you must sign up for NYRA Bets, that's what you need to do. That should be your New Year's resolution, to become a member of NYRA Bets, to join the likes of the Big A and myself, and so many other luminaries
look at how
as
easy
members
look
of
at how
NYRA.
easy the
and
promo
we're even
code
doing
is.
it just right, exactly. The promo code's Big A. We'll match up to $200, but also more importantly, today is mandatory payout day. There can be no carryovers into tomorrow. That means if nobody has 5 and they're early pick 5 and late pick 5, not only will I drop dead of a heart attack because it seems impossible looking at the sequence that nobody will have 5, they can't carry. But the Empire 6 pool will be given out, 147,000 and change. Well, there it is. Jose's like magic, isn't he? You just don't even,
the magic
like,
man, Jose.
Incredible, you know? It really is. That's the carryover, be giving that out. That's
Who's the jockey,
3
the jockey in South America, Joao Moreira? He's the magic man?
Don't know.
The South American guy? I don't know how to say
I
don't know how to say his name.
Okay, I want to say he rides, I'm not sure where he rides.
I think he's maybe from South America, but he rides out in Hong Kong in the Pacific.
Yeah, is the Magic Man?
The Magic Man. Joao Moreira. Yeah.
What race you calling today?
I'll be calling the 5th. Final race of
What's the 5th?
my final call of 2019.
You know, not to let your enormous head get any bigger, you do a good job of calling, and I think that people don't appreciate, first of all, how difficult it is, but second of all, you've only called, how many, you probably know the exact number. I bet you haven't called more than 50 races now.
I have. I've called 7, today will be 73.
Really?
Yeah.
God,
today will be 7. Well, I had the 3 and the 5 day races,
still,
which got me there. Yeah.
But still, that's a total of 8 days, 8 normal days of racing. I mean, that's not even 2 weeks of full cards.
And I've gotten to do it on the biggest stage in the world. I did not, NYRA. I mean, there's no other way around it. When you're afforded that luxury and you have 2 of the best to really ever do it in Frank Maramati and John Embrial take you under their wing, and they both have pretty big wings, thank God, because I would need room. One of them a little bigger than the other, yes. Listen, from Dave O'Rourke and Tony Alavato to my man Eric Donovan.
You don't have to kiss up to them, they're not watching.
I'm just saying, Eric Donovan.
Seriously, that's embarrassing.
You know, it's nice to work with people like you who I know since I'm 10 years old. Definitely don't kiss up to me. Eric, who, we cut our teeth in the business together. Eric walked in these doors in 1996, and I was working for the Post in '99, and we cut our teeth together in the game. We've been together here 20 years, just fighting it out and trying to climb to the top. And Eric does an amazing job. I knew I shouldn't have started this. You should have started it because I get sentimental because I'm very appreciative. I realize what it's all about. And getting to sit here with you every day. I mean, we had a great year in 2019. We made some money. We picked some winners. Hopefully, 2020 is even better, my friend. All right, 2020. 2020 starts tomorrow. And then next year we can say everything was in hindsight in 2020 on this day. All the snarky people. It's quite a race we're ending the decade with. It is what it is. Race. There were a lot of key scratches on today's card. I saw Dave Aragona saying 3 of his top choice scratched, and there were some key scratches. Yeah. This card. The first race, David made Vibrancy 3 to 5. I don't agree with David. He may be right, and they make horses enormous favorites around here. I have trouble making a horse 3 to 5 in this race. I'm sorry, nobody in this race is 60% or more to win this race. And frankly, I know it's Brad Cox, but don't have great numbers with drop downs. They're maiden special to maiden claim or numb downs, and you'll see it, aren't particularly great. And it's not like this horse's figure was so much faster than other horses in this race. He's the horse to beat. I'm not arguing it. She is, excuse me. Yeah. And I think she will be 6 to 5 or something. I'm not saying it's going to be a big price, but I don't see this horse. You seem to agree more with David. I don't want to try to get into David's head. David's great. It's a discussion. It's not a criticism. I think the reason he made this horse a prohibitive favorite today, because the other thing that is a little curious, and he's usually a little bit more conservative when it comes to these things. There are 2 other drop downs in here. Now, Hard One, the number 6, didn't do much running at all in the debut. That was on. But Super Blood Wolf Moon. But I could also. Last buyer is everything as good as Vibrancy. But the truth of the matter is, you see that Rudy shipped this horse to Laurel. They tried the turf last time. I think you could say there's some frustration that is sitting. Who cares if they ship? First of all, Rudy runs a lot at Laurel. He does. Second of all, who cares? This is a particularly weak maiden 50 for 2-year-olds, and if these horses were in open races, they'd be running for maiden 15s. So the fact that the horse went to Laurel is irrelevant. To the morning line argument, I think that's where David was attacking this from. This horse was 2 to 1 against specialty
What about
horses.
Wicked Keisha, who just finished second, beating a half length, and got almost a similar buyer?
What do you think she's going to be?
Who?
Vibrancy.
6 to 5, even money. There's a big difference between that and 3 to 5.
I think she'll be under even money.
Okay.
I do.
I'm not betting you on that one.
No, it's
by the way,
I wouldn't bet it
46
either.
lunches.
I wouldn't bet it either because the horse in the last race paid $6 yesterday.
Don't bet so much that you go over 50, because over 50 would be particularly embarrassing.
It's embarrassing enough anyway.
So you got Vibrancy on top.
Yeah, I do. I don't, like I said, I feel like the frustration is set in with Super Blood Wolf Moon. I don't know what to make of the first of Saffron Girl for Linda Rice, who, quite frankly,
Hold off,
Saffron Girl, right, she wouldn't have to be much to win this race first time out. Like I said, Hard One's dropping, but she's running on dirt for the first time. I mean, I guess Wicked Keisha, but, I don't know what to do with Wicked Keisha.
Anyway, Saffron Girl I have on top. I found it was a very interesting stat for Saffron Girl that I saw. And even more specifically, if you narrow this down to Aqueduct, and this has come up before, because I know I've played at least one, if not 2 Linda horses off this. First time stars in dirt routes and maiden playing race at Aqueduct. When she runs them long first time, they seem to run. Much more than the sprint types, and it's not. And she's a trainer that's very effective with second-time starters, not with first-time starters. This is where she seems to win.
And
and as you say, it doesn't be much. And I'll tell you something else. This horse has a pedigree to run a little bit. So
one or two of these, if I'm not mistaken, I did not have the stat, so I did not look it up. But I want to say Midnight Disguise might have been part of that stat.
I think it was.
Right? She runs some horses that are made of some substance.
One of them was a horse that Erin had either last year or the year before, and and it got claimed. I don't think she went on to do a lot. She was a goofy horse that had trouble getting on the gate.
But one of them was one of the daughters of Thin Disguise.
Could have been.
One of the stakes winners.
Anyhow, that's where I went, because I'm not excited by what I've seen. Race number 2, speaking about not being excited about what you're seeing, I don't want to bet on excess capacity, but I looked long and hard, and I cannot take anybody else in this field.
Listen, I took a little shot with Cool As You Like.
You couldn't even find a 4th horse.
Both of them scratched. Oh, the text didn't go through because we were downstairs.
Oh.
It should be a 4. It should be 5,
Blame it
7,
on the
1,
office.
4. Sorry, guys.
I
missed 2 phone calls and the text didn't go through. So it should be 5, 7, 1, 4. I apologize. But yeah, I have nothing really to say other than that. I'm going to use the 5.
Well, you're betting against the 7, so you should have something
to
say here.
I literally
you're
took
against
the source.
the heavy favorite.
I literally took a shot. Thank you. I was quick. I literally took a little shot against this horse just because the other horse is going to be 3 to 1 and this horse is going to be 3 to 5. And that's I'm using the 2 of them in the pick 4 and the pick 5, and that's it. There's really not much else for me to say here.
I just think excess capacity is just a better horse, and she's also going to be much more forward. That's the other thing. I don't know. I'm not a big Cool As You Like It fan, to be honest. I'm tired of this horse, but I guess she's the other horse. They look like the 2.
She's the only other horse.
Purely
right?
Lucky, by the way, has a good second. She was second to English Soul in her only wet track appearance.
Oh,
so
there you go.
Is worth bringing up that her one wet track. She actually does have a wet track
she
race.
She ran poorly on the wet track last time.
She did, but she has a wet track race that's good.
The other wet track
Pointed
race.
it out. Anyway,
Okay.
I went 7-5. Race number 3. Race number 3 to major scratch. And it's tricky because, by the way, race number 3 kicks off the Empire 6. The only day I would be interested in playing it would be the day we have a mandatory payout. And we have that today. After praising Jose, he was a little bit slow on that.
He's fine.
No, he was a little slow on that.
I don't know if you gave him such a good throw, to be honest with you.
You going to blame me? No, Jose, what makes Jose brilliant is that he's thinking for me.
And here are all the mandatory payouts.
I didn't want to see that, but anyway, now he's
showing off.
Now he's playing games.
Now he's just showing off.
Anyhow, for me, I wanted to begin this with 2 horses, with Modernist and Portos. I'm not a big fan of Portos. We'll take a look at his last race. He is probably going to win this race and pay $260 or $270. I just don't want to trust a horse that was able to control on that track that was so much tilted towards horses on the front end. That may have, I don't know that it exaggerated his performance, but it hurt everybody behind him. He still ran fast enough. He's probably going to win. I think Call Me Later will improve, probably benefit from that first race. Not really sure. It was kind of the weird trip in that race. Portos will probably win. I'll have a small backup with Call Me Later, but there's really nothing left in here after they scratch Modernist.
For the last time in 2019. Here's the thing.
Are you sure it's last name?
I'm not going to say
on the show or period?
On the show.
Anywhere.
Oh, yeah, on the show. Porthos was a game of mathematics last time. Like you said, it was during that kickback time. They went 51 to the half. He was coming out of halves.
Was 51 fast or slow?
It was. I
No,
mean,
it's not slow.
It wasn't slow.
It's
but
not slow. The track was so slow, it wasn't that slow.
Just the raw times, right? Yeah. He's supposed to be where he was because he's coming out of races that were raw time much faster. Earlier on, 47 and change, a 49.
No, he showed much more speed last time.
He did show much more speed, which gives you, which
you can't compare
makes
it
you
to those other
believe
races.
He's going to show much more speed.
You think the Saratoga track was the Saratoga track? He ran the same exact fraction his first time out in the Saratoga track, and that track was much faster.
Also ran. I mean, I think this
they
is
went
worth
150 and 3. 2-year-olds up in Saratoga, 50 and 3. You know how much faster that track was?
That was a sharp
The weird
time.
thing was how much more speed he showed last time, Anthony.
Right.
It had nothing to do with the slow fraction.
I agree.
He showed a ton more speed.
And he's gonna. That's going to help him a lot today because, quite frankly, the other 3 horses that have run, and I know the one's coming out of a sprint, call me later, and he's been announced as a gelding. I don't know if that's a first-time gelding or just a gelding. The other 2.
Still a gelding. Just a gelding.
Yeah.
If you're a gelding, would you think of yourself as just a gelding?
I wouldn't want
to. By the way,
much.
Anthony's looking for a pair of skinny jeans if anybody's interested.
Look, Todd Pletcher's run this horse around 2 turns and at a mile and a 16th or a mile and an 1/8 in all 3 of his prior starts. So obviously this horse, he wanted nothing to
how
do with
long,
running
if he wins big today, how long it's going to be before somebody says the dreaded stupid comment?
Belmont horse. By Tappan agrees automatically. He's a Belmont horse right now because he's by Tappan.
Has the Belmont horse ever won? I really don't think so.
You know, I think the earliest I said something to you, I mentioned something to you on the Withers edition of Talking Horses this year and said something like, I put Sir Winston 4th. He likes some distance. He might be a Belmont horse. I don't know if I said it to you.
I knew he was a stupid horse. I didn't realize he was that stupid.
I don't know if he was on the air or if it was off the air.
You told me also my office is going to have a big year this year. He started out with a plum.
Who?
Sir Winston. You told me he was going to have a big year in my office.
Next year. There's still this year. Next year. You got to get this out of his system.
You can still bet over 1.5 wins.
I'm still waiting for Plainsman to win, please.
Yeah, I feel bad about Plainsman.
Me too.
First of all, he ran great.
August.
He ran great in his first start for sure.
Uncontested when he
in that slow-paced race in Saratoga, he ran terrific, and he just fell apart. Obviously, whatever happened to him was debilitating.
Yeah.
But he showed that he could run that first time. I'm sure it was very frustrating to them. I feel bad about Plainsman.
Me too.
Because he really could have been a good horse.
Me too.
Shug is going into 2020 though with Performer and Code of Honor, 2 of the more promising horses going forward.
Yeah, I don't know where the 3-year-old filly is. I know she worked a couple of times.
Who?
The filly that won the Devona Dale and then got
she's
hurt?
retired.
Is she retired?
Fly So High. It's funny, I brought her up on Steve Vick's show.
Okay.
We were talking about her, and I was saying the same thing you just said, and he said Shug texted him after the show and said she just wasn't training as he had hoped, and she's being bred.
You think about all those early horses, right? Hidden Scroll. Hidden Scroll is one I actually looked
Hidden
up.
Scroll is going to win the Met Mile.
Hidden Scroll has worked 10 times at Payson Park.
Hidden Scroll is going to win the Met Mile.
Between the Saratoga, wow, this guy's calling a shot on New Year's Eve.
I'm gonna go down in flames. You know, I like that. There's that Twitter account, poorly
aged tweet,
racing tweets.
Yeah,
I love it. The guy's nice to me because I could be on it every day. They could find something stupid that I've said in the past. I just like it because it's fun to make fun of people, and it's not a mean-spirited account.
No, it's not.
It's fun, and we all should laugh at ourselves, and it's good.
He got me on a California Chrome.
It's a fun thing to follow.
He got me on a California Chrome once.
If you haven't made stupid comments, you're not involved in racing.
Correct.
And so I'm ready for that. I saw somebody praising Hidden Scroll and him putting it up there, and I almost responded and said, well, I mean, I had more accolades for that horse than him. I'm a big fan. We'll move on. We both like the same horse in race number 5. Race number 4, unfortunately, had a lot of scratch. He had a big scratch. We got old. Win with Pride. If Win with Pride comes back, he's going to win. I mean, here's one of his good races. I think this is 2 back when he was second, when he beat Runaway Loot back in January. I don't know if he's going to come back and still be able to run. He got very good. I'm always a little reticent about these horses that get really good for a while and then they lay them up. They rarely come back with the same magic. But man, this horse got good, Anthony.
He got good, and I took a shot again. We took a shot against with the same horse, and we'll talk about him in a minute. But what gives you a little confidence, I think, with Win with Pride, you see that he had the December to May layoff from 17 into 18. He came back and won. Then he was going good. He had the little 2-month break. He came back and won and ran well. Now, obviously, a much longer break.
Yeah,
he hasn't been
back
here.
in for
he's
a
been
quarter
gone 10
where they
months.
claimed him.
Look,
I feel like I bet this horse when he won it 9-1 when he started the streak. In fact, I did. This was the day.
Made a lot of money with this horse.
I was home. It was right before I went to Martha's Vineyard, and I ran second and third to have a big pick 3 with this horse, and I would have made a score. Yeah.
Listen, they made a lot of money with this horse. Like you said, he's back in for the quarter. So is he dropping down? He's dropping down. But technically, he's not a drop down because this is where he cut his teeth, and this is where he was taken for. So,
I agree with that. He's not a horse.
There's home run hitters and there's guys that hit home runs. There are drop downs and there are horses that are dropping down. He's really just dropping down.
Now, he couldn't run for the waiver, right? Because isn't it?
He couldn't run for the waiver because he wasn't in for the
period.
Right. And the last tag he ran for was 62.5. 2 starts
I don't think
back
it's the last tag, isn't it? The tag you've run for in a certain period of time.
I think it's the most recent tag, but the 6 months is elapsed.
It's still 16 months. So why don't you tell us why you like Colton, Mississippi, and I'll see if anything, I have to add.
We had this argument about Mo Diddley yesterday, and he turned out to be more right than wrong. I just think this horse is a dirt horse.
On Bo Diddley's birthday, too.
On Bo Diddley's birthday. I did not know that part of it. I mean, I probably would have doubled up if I knew.
You learn a lot of good stuff on Twitter.
Jason Service is going to get to run this horse on what I think is his preferred surface, first time.
Really?
Yeah, I do. Do you think he's more of a turf horse?
I do, but I think he's run his best races on the dirt. I think he's both. He has run some good. He's run very well. He's a weird horse, this horse. But it's the first time Jason gets to run in the dirt.
Yeah, that was pretty much.
I know one thing. If he runs that race he ran for Eddie DeLauro back in May, they knew that day too. At 5-1, he's going to win.
I needed Felix and Fabula for some money that day, and I knew I was toast at the 3/8 pole. Joel was sitting there like a statue. This thing was over.
I will say one thing. I'm not a huge fan of Candy Promises, who you've left out. I'd be careful. He actually ran pretty well last time.
Well, I'm hoping. What I'm hoping Chad's using this as a little bit of a. I don't know if I'd say stepping stone. I'd rather see this horse back at a mile or a mile and an eighth even. I'd rather see this horse stretching out. I don't know if I want to
put it this way. You've got Hardwood Folklore in third. Okay, whatever. If the 6 can't run, Candy Promise no worse than the second likeliest winner, dressed up as he is.
Okay.
Hardcore Folklore is a little hard to take the 3-year-old here. How's he going to win this race?
I feel like if the race collapses a little bit, he's the kind of horse that could come running late and grab a piece. I don't know. It was hard for me to get past Colton, Mississippi, and win with pride.
I think you're being overly.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think if I knew We Got Sold was out, I would have put the 3 second because I don't think he's impossible here.
Okay.
Race number 5. I switched my picks around so Anthony and I wouldn't pick the same horse in every race today, which was getting to that point. Here's other things equal. Breaking is Maiden. And I still maintain, by the way, I'm right in this argument I had with Seth about the name. I think it's a goofy name. Isn't it all things being equal?
Or I think it's other things You might be right.
We have an argument about the name.
This works.
This argument is going to be argument is going to be had again at a further date. I love the idea.
You're probably not going to win an argument with Seth, but I'll tell you what.
I believe that I've won every argument I've ever been in.
I would like to go to that. I'll pick up the tab for that, too. I just want to see you have the argument.
Anyway, that won't be happening. I don't trust this horse. He was bad last time. He's the horse to be in here. He was bad last time. He never lifted a hoof last time.
Yeah, you know what? I think what has to be more troubling about that is he actually came back from the break with an encouraging race. He didn't have the cleanest start, and he did some running.
No, he did, and he actually ran fine when he lost.
Yeah, but he just last time was
bad. He was bad. Now, it was during a time when horses weren't really picking up ground here, and maybe he got bothered in the kickback, which is always a possibility. And, I saw somebody chastising David Aragona about talking about the kickback, and I agree that kickback's an overused concept and it's not as meaningful, and that horses learn to run through kickback. It's first-time starters, and kickback is different. But the kickback has been a major issue for a great deal of November here at Aqueduct.
Yeah.
And even into early December.
That last race was very, very.
He's a tough horse to take. There are 2 possible realistic alternatives that you and I would have. I don't want Wayne's Footsteps. I will say Wayne's Footsteps did run very well last time. I still don't think it's a very good race, but he ran very well in the context of it. And Jimmy Ferraro's been doing well. I think you're either going to take Louis Rodriguez claiming from Alejandro Memo, or you're going to take Beachside to get back into form. And Beachside, first time for a tag.
I raised my hand.
Yeah, I didn't put up the stat for Linda. She has moderate numbers, first time for a tag. I end up going to this horse because I didn't want to keep taking the same horses as you, so I flopped them around.
I've been a fan of Bad Guy for a long time, and I just feel like
if you're a bad guy.
Exactly. I could be the baddest guy.
Here's the thing.
No, you said it now. I didn't say it. You're betting the trainer change. I'm betting the trainer change.
Of course.
And that's really.
Well, the other thing about no,
okay.
let me say something else. You're not just betting the trainer change. You're betting a horse that's run some races.
He's got races that
aren't terrible. And if Rudy can improve this horse off his best races, the only thing I worry about, and we've talked about this in the past, and you know it's true, when trainers that are very good off the claim from trainers that just don't win.
They don't know.
Your initial reaction is to say, "Oh my gosh, Rudy Rodriguez, he's almost 40% off the claim, and he's claiming from a guy who's winning at 3%. This is like free money." There's no free money at the racetrack.
Nope.
In general, claiming from barns that don't win is a very, very dicey proposition. You know, it was one thing when Rudy claimed Backside of the Moon, because Leo did well with that horse. Mm-hmm. You know, that horse kept his form for a long time, and Leo did well with him. He doesn't have that many horses, and gave him an opportunity with a good horse, and he showed he can train.
I mean, the truth of the matter is, at the end of the day, Bad Guy's 1 for 33.
Right. And the other problem, is he's not just 1 for 33. He's not going to be 8-1 today.
No, he'll be 4-1.
Because all the wise guys like us.
He'll be the second choice.
I'm going to use him, but
he'll be the second choice. I mean, other things equals got to be 4-5 in here.
So let's move on to race number 6, which is actually a fun race. At the end of the day, the horse, I decided not to pick against Operation Roses. And I will say one of the reasons was the wet track. Because I'm confident this horse is going to run well on the wet track. I mean, this horse didn't break super sharp. This came flying out on the inside and just bashed this field. This horse
very good
ran
effort.
like a good horse. The one thing I'm wondering a little about, doesn't Winstar sell a lot of these horses? And I think that's something that has to come up because it's relevant to the next race. This horse has to have a for sale tag sign on him, and nobody bought him. I could be wrong.
You know,
I don't know this for a fact, but they do sell a lot of horses.
There's another way around this.
What?
There's another way around it. This horse really impressed them in the mornings, and they really thought this horse was a good horse, and they wanted to keep.
He's a gelding.
I know.
He's a gelding.
Which
He's a gelding.
It makes very little sense, right? You think about these
the
big operations
no,
that
it's
keep
possible
the
that.
geldings.
First of all, it's possible I'm wrong, and you're right that they don't want to. I'm not making a definitive statement.
I gotcha.
But horses like this usually they're all for sale.
Well,
every horse is theoretically for sale.
Well, I think we just basically put
market.
forth both arguments. Yeah. They either couldn't sell them, or they...
Is financial stability a phony, or was he compromised by the slow pace last time, which I think he was, and he was compromised by 6 furlongs getting wired 2 back, but you have to start wavering on financial stability. He better run well today.
He better run well today. He's got some pedigree for the wet track, especially with the Midnight Loot on top. I mean, you'd have to think that this horse is going to handle a wet track. And Chad Brown, his trainer, ran this horse pointedly at 7 furlongs.
No, the 6 furlong was too short. We got to keep it moving. BB Banker will show you the stat. And tell you something, do not make the mistake of betting on the horse Bad Guy and not using this horse. Because Rudy has these outstanding numbers off the claim with dirt routers, and this horse has run well for Jimmy Ferraro. I mean, all Rudy has to do with this horse is keep him in his current form, and he's a player in this race. So I wouldn't dismiss him. The wacky horse in this race is Silver Seeker, and we'll go back to Turfway last time, where this horse won. Do you remember? Do you know the horse? Do you know who this horse beat? Do you know that horse is who beat?
That was that the Asmussen maiden that beat Grump's Little Tots here last year, right?
He's still in Asmussen. Was still in Asmussen. He ran against Heichel. I bet him against Heichel, and he was home free. And Heichel came from the class. He was like 5 and change to 1. Yeah, he ran those maiden races here last winter. He's still in hours 1. This horse was running against legitimate racehorses. I know, but he won on. He
won on main track.
88 to 1 in main track. You know something? When you have New York breds in your barn, run them in New York.
Yep. $64,000 pot.
This is a cool horse. Even Vintage Hollywood's last race was good.
Listen,
this race is,
if you're playing
the favorite
Empire
may
6
win,
today,
but this race is a little more of a stretch.
If you're playing an Empire 6 today, I think this is the race where you can find the fuzzy to beat the 2 favorites.
I agree. This is a race where there are horses that can run enough that they could.
And you can say, why aren't we picking those horses? If Operation Roses, who's getting his track again, comes back with that same race, they're all running for second.
No, that's not why I didn't do it. I don't pick against heavy favorites unless I'm going to bet my money on those horses.
Okay, fair enough.
And I'm not going to be betting BB Banker or Silver Seeker, so
enough.
I'm never going to pick horses that I won't be betting. If I say to you I'm betting against with a price, I'm betting.
Fair enough.
Race number 7. I know this horse is with the track. We'll take a look at Communicator's last race. I get it, but I'm sorry. This horse, and he legitimized it when the second horse came back and improved his buyer figure 5 points. This horse I have to accelerate. It looks like accelerate. I'm going to tell you something. I am not trying to beat this guy. This guy, to me, looks like a stakes horse.
Well, like you said, he did everything right last time. Big, gaudy buyer speed figure on the pace, put those horses away, drew away. He's under a hand ride here.
Big figures yesterday. Alicio got 100, and that
Licio,
highest, what's his name? Highest.
Licio came home in 6 and change under a stranglehold yesterday.
Highest, whatever, the Chad Brown Clarvich horse got an 89 buyer. Exaggerated maybe by wet tracks. You have to be careful, but.
Now, he's going to have to handle another 1/8 of a mile on the second turn, but the way he ran last time with his speed, the second turn should help him.
He looks like he's stronger with distance, this guy.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, the old form line takes some beating. I mean, we're waxing poetic on a 2 to 5 shot, but man.
And by the way, last year's Belmont horse is in here, and Moretti, and Patagonia is in this race as well. We'll show Patagonia. Patagonia's last race is one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. How do you have a horse that's right on top of the pace going 6 furlongs at Monmouth? And I know the horse got left, but it's not like Jose wasn't asking this horse a little bit, and he just has no real speed.
Response.
And he's lagging out in the back, and look at him, he's 3 wide, you can't get him. Now this horse, you know what I'll tell you what's funny about this race? Listen to this race with the sound on. The announcer never picked this horse up until about 70 yards to the wire. You can see he's making a run, and you're talking about a horse that was bet in here. This horse makes a long, sustained, extended run. One of the reasons I brought up the horse being sold in the last race is this horse was Windstar and China Horse Club, as you can tell by the silks last time. And now, Ralph Evans brought this privately with his daughter. That's, I believe, his daughter, Lauren, right, who owned Diversity with him.
Yeah, I believe
Diversify with him. They bought this horse privately.
Now, was this private or was this at the sale?
Oh.
Could have been at the sale. Source could have been in the sale.
Oh, that's a very good point. You make a great point.
Thanks. Source could have been in the sale. That's a short stretch race, the mile on the 16th at Keeneland as well. This horse did a lot of running on a turn, which is always impressive.
He flattened out a bit late. Maggie's right. Maggie's right. This horse only sold for $150,000. Maggie, you can answer this. That seems a little low, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway. This horse sold for $150,000.
He's interesting. He puts the blinkers on. We'll see what happens with him. Like you said, he was in one of the 2 most ridiculous DQs of all time, the long-term parking race. He was in long-term thinking. He was on the pace, and now the blinkers go on.
We needed to have time for the last race.
Okay.
Now, you and I have already had our first argument. Is that Hudson Overpass in the last race you think is going to be odds on. Here's his last race. If this horse is odds on, I want to set up a booth and book every cent on it. It has to be noted that the overwhelming favorite in this race did not finish. So what this horse did was he couldn't get by no more miracles in the stretch. And let me tell you something. There was no bigger miracle.
You're talking about his brother, by the way.
What? I had a cold exacta with this horse behind the favorite. And a little reverse, actually. I had to tell you something. This horse is all yours as a heavy favorite. You didn't pick him either. I don't think he's going to be as heavy favorite.
I couldn't pick him off the one.
But you're going to close the year out with your man Ray Gutierrez and Jaime Cruz.
Listen, I just want
Anthony's
somebody as opposed to the
New Year's
favorite,
Eve
cutting back, first time sprint. I'm going to use the 4 numbers you see on the board. I'll throw Andy's 8 in out of respect. Oh, the first or
Anthony's going to spend New Year's Eve making a list of all these supposed Finger Lakes horses that have been burning it up here at Aqueduct. Because I know myself and many of you are at home waiting for that list. We both wanted to bet Mighty Wind. I guarantee. Oh, no, you didn't want to bet him. I did, because it's a horse named after the show. I'm a little scared by a 10-pound bug riding. But I think this horse got bet first time.
Yep.
This horse took money. It was a Castle Village horse. And now Leah has the horse. By 8, yeah, I'll take a first-time start. There were 3 foals in this dam that could run. Okay? If there's 4 that can run this much, there will be a winner chicken dinner. How can you leave this horse out?
I'm going to use the 6 of them.
De Berg.
The Berg.
Do you know that I have a letter from Dave Berg from Mad Magazine at home?
No, I did not.
I wanted to be a cartoonist when I was a little kid.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you're a cartoon.
Now I'm a cartoon character. Exactly right. Got that right. I served that one up, and you whacked it out of the park. Anyhow, A lot of good stuff today. 147,000 in the carryover for the late pick five. For the Empire 6. Starts in race 3. Johnny I with a reprise. The scratches and changes.